For example, in Concepcion, IloIlo, there are islands there that have been working with CSOs, like Conservation International, for example. They have been able to demonstrate the impact of a combination of something as basic as rocks, so hard items, as well as mangroves planted at the right places. They've been able to reduce the impacts of waves. Another site would also be in IloIlo, in Lebanese, where there used to be an abandoned, unused, underutilized fish pond that was planted to 22 hectares of mangrove, and now it's able to recover biodiversity as well as protect the land that's behind it. So there are examples, but as a caveat, I think it's also very important for us to realize that this is not a one-size-fits-all thing, especially when it concerns nature. It has to be really well studied, and it has to be site-specific and site-relevant. And that is something that we can do in DNR. And so, also important for us to realize, what do we want when we say green infrastructure? Are we okay with a 6-lane road, for example, that's incorporated with mangrove, or are we talking about huge mega highways? I mean, these are things that we have to discuss with the LGUs concerned. What exactly do we want? Because nature, everywhere you look at nature, it has something to do with scale. The reason why we have disasters is because, we probably scaled wrongly, or maybe we put structures where they shouldn't be, or the sizes that are not appropriate. So the hard and fast answer to the question, yes, we do. And in most of these situations, we work with CSOs. So what DNR as government can do is to aid them so that they're able to translate all these lessons to other sites and scale them up. So it cannot be done overnight, obviously, but it certainly can be done.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Secretary.
Yeah, just in addition, so you have the People Survival Fund, which is being leveraged by the department to attract additional funding, and there are specific sites. At site level, there is in Tagum, Davao del Norte, the mangrove habitat protection and restoration. And then in Negros Occidental and Palawan, there are site grants supported by the Forest Foundation and its partners. So there are also in Siruma, Camarines Sur, where there are community-led mangrove rehabilitation initiatives that are ready for scaling. So these are just examples, as well as on the upstream, on the watershed. So there are also a number of sites, including under the project transform of the initiative. So you have the ones of Bataan, and for the Upper Marikina River Basin Protected Landscape, as well as the Pantabangan watershed, Pantabangan Karanglan Watershed Forest Reserve, and then for what is this? A very specific project that may be that the chair of the subcommittee may have been interested in is the one in the municipality of San Remio Antique, covering 18 hectares, which is covered by a memorandum of agreement with the local government unit. But again, Madam Chair, as emphasized by our colleagues, that it takes time, because in this, for example, this one in Antique took them more than 1 year to negotiate and plan among the parties. So it's a process-intensive exercise, really. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary, Mr. Chair. Pero at least, lumalabas dito sa komite namin, the department even has a list of these projects, I presume covered by the feasibility studies na binanggit ninyo kanina, and at various stages of potential implementation at may mga partner stakeholders, whether NGOs or LGU. So please provide the committee through our chair, vice chair, this list for the consideration of the members when we come to the period of amendments dito sa budget plenary. And salamat din, Secretary, for mentioning the People's Survival Fund dahil yun actually yung kaugnay niyan yung susunod na tanong ko, and also for mentioning the Upper Marikina River Basin Protected Landscape kasi may later question ako po dyan. But just to move to my next question na kaugnay din ng PSF, successful, cost-efficient NBS projects have been implemented, as you mentioned, by local government units in provinces like you mentioned, Negros, Batanes, Camarines Sur, often supported by groups like, as you mentioned, Forest Foundation Philippines or the World Bank's Pagkilos Initiative. So ano pong specific na, bukod sa mga maaring nabanggit nyo na, anong specific LGU-led NBS projects ang nire-recommenda ng department para sa immediate national replication and, as you mentioned, scaling sa pamamagitan ng mga decentralized mechanisms tulad ng isang augmented na People's Survival Fund, Mr. Chair?
Madam Chair, perhaps what we can do is we can provide the committee with a list of some of those that can be provided with not only with additional funding, but that they can be supplemented with other forms of support by the department. So we can do that. We will submit that from the different initiatives, all the way from the watershed areas to the coast.
Maraming salamat para doon. I believe all of us in the committee would really appreciate that list. And then, to ensure fiscal prudence and robust project prioritization, kasalukuyan bang kaya na ng department mag-conduct ng isang buong benefit cost analysis para sa mga NBS proposals na ito na accurately mag-account for at magbibigay ng halaga, value sa critical ecosystem services. Halimbawa, flood control nga, sediment retention, carbon capture, na mga bagay na yung mga conventional DPWH, gray infrastructure projects, madalas they fail to include these, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator. May I request USEC Ana to respond to some of your concerns. They are related really with the implementation as well of the recent law that you passed on the Philippine Environment and Natural Resource Accounting.
Which the Chair will be glad to hear you mention. At actually, yun yung huling tanong ko dito sa flood control. Yes, please, USEC, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the DNR started building its capacity to be able to conduct the benefit cost analysis for nature-based solution proposals. For one, in 2016, we have already a Biofin Philippines project where we compiled the existing valuation studies. And out of the studies, we were able to estimate the value of the Philippines ecosystem services can be derived from timber, water pollution, ecotourism, carbon sequestration, flood prevention, and even seafood production. We also were able to develop the Sukat ng Kalikasan tool, which was established in the high conservation value areas and national capital accounting. We were able to assess the presence, for example, of rare, threatened, or unique flora and fauna, and able also to estimate the value of the ecosystem services. With the passage of the PENCAS, We have started to develop the site-specific ecosystem accounts. So ito po yung detailed assessments of ecosystem services that quantify the benefits provided by nature. So far po, meron mga specific areas. For example, we have Masinloc, Oyan Bay. We're able to establish the fish provisioning service there. For Mount Matilingagan, protected landscape, yung naman po kanyang wood provisioning service or crop provisioning service. We can provide you, Madam Chair, with the different sites where we were able to somehow establish this ecosystem accounts. And then we are also already integrating NCA into the watershed management. So for ERDB and FMB, they have already integrated this into watershed management by enhancing watershed characterization and vulnerability assessment. So, matatapos na po natin yung Santo Tomas River watershed, but we have already completed the Tago River watershed. So, we're building that capacity, and we hope that with additional resources, we'll be able to get more people to be trained and also procure the needed software and hardware to build the system, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Salamat, Yusek, Mr. Chair. So sa ganitong tools at saka sistema tulad ng ecosystem accounts, kaya na ng department i-generate yung benefit cost analysis.
Based on our timetable, Madam Chair, may 3 to 5 years, Madam Chair.
In 3 to 5
Yes, Madam Chair,
within 3 to
because
5 years pa.
opo, parang site-specific pa lang po, but the whole system has to be developed, Madam Chair.
Okay, so ang kaya na sa ngayon is kwentahan yung halaga ng bawat ecosystem. Pero to generate full benefit cost analyses for each individual NBS proposal, each one could take from 3 to 5 years.
So, Madam Chair, what we can do is to identify the priority sites. We have already identified priority sites. We can review that. Kasi po, in instances where there is resource use conflict, so, ang isang area ba to is better for protection or mineral exploration or forest production. So, with the evaluation, we'll be able to come up with an informed decision whether or not ano yung best use for that certain area, Madam Chair.
Let me present, if not a problem, a challenge. What if, dahil nga minsan may competing interests or uses para sa isang ecosystem, paano kung sabihin ng, say, DPWH, ito na aming gray infrastructure, kasi ang bagal nyo sa DENR 3 to 5 years pa. How do we meet that challenge and allow government as a whole, kayo sa executive, to make the best decision, at kami sa legislature as your partners also to make the best decision in terms of appropriating the budget every year?
Madam Chair, thank you for the question, and I think this is where adherence to the plans that are in place would be helpful, because even if we cannot go down to that level of detail where we are able to compare what would be the cost and the benefit of these projects, if they conform with the general plans, then I think we would reduce the adverse impact. One of the adverse impacts that was being referred to was that in some cases the hard infra can actually accelerate the force and speed of flooding from the upland going into the lowland. So it not only defeats the purpose but actually exacerbates the problem. So these are the things that I think on even at a macro level we will be able to address with the ones that have been presented so far. Thank you.
Salamat, Secretary. In fact, naalala ko po sa ongoing